what changes it made? Princely states, they joined, and after Mountbatten Plan, the Muslim League joined the assembly. They told, okay, anyway, we are getting the partitions, they joined it, right? And then princely states also joined, because the Mountbatten Plan was that either the princely state, they will join India or Pakistan, no independence. So anyway, they came to know either we have to be with India or Pakistan, so we have to join. So they joined it, right? Then Indian Independence Act, they made some differences. What differences was made? Assembly was made fully sovereign. See, in 1946, when the Constituent Assembly came into being, it was still under the British. It was still under the British, isn't it? We didn't get fully independence, right? So now, anyway, the Indian Independence Act was passed. India is free and independent country. Now the assembly are fully sovereign, and then they don't have to take any ratification from the British government or so, right? It made fully sovereign, and assembly also became legislative body. So Constituent Assembly has a two function. One was constitution making, framing the constitution, right? Second was law making, right? To legislate or to make law. So Constituent Assembly has two functions. One, making of the constitution. Secondly, to make laws. When the Constituent Assembly assembled for making the constitution, who presided it? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Rajendra Prasad. He presided over the constitution making of the Constituent Assembly. But when the Constituent Assembly were they assembled for law making, then who presided over it? G.V. Mavlankar, Speaker. He later on became the Speaker of independent India. When the Lok Sabha was constituted after election, then who became the Speaker? G.V. Mavlankar, right? So before that only, because he was handling the function of the Speaker. So whenever law making function, it will be presided over by G.V. Mavlankar, who later on became the first Speaker of the Lok Sabha. And for constitution making, who will preside over? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Remember, these are the small differences you should remember. Fine? So the Constituent Assembly has two functions, legislative and constitution making, and these two were performed on different date, not on the same date, like performed on a separate days. Thus the assembly became the first parliament of free India, Dominion legislature. Why are we calling it Dominion legislature? Why are we calling it a Dominion legislature? Is there any idea? Because 1947, after that we became independent. Because our constitution has not come into being. Still we were following which constitution? 1935, right? So that's why, and it was framed by whom? By the Britishers. So that's why Dominion legislature, right? Once the Indian constitution came into force, 26th January 1950, that is what we call as an Republic Day, right? Then we became totally sovereign. See, we got independence in 1947, but then we still had a dominion status for 3 years, till we became a republic, right? So these points are not probably everywhere given in the book. So this is where, you know, you should make a notes of that. So we got a dominion status with the independence on 15th August 1947. We got what? Dominion status. Because why? Our constitution was not framed, and we became republic and fully sovereign on 26th Jan 1950, when the constitution came into force. And we accepted dominion status. Why? Because we wanted some kind of guidance from the Britishers. Because all of a sudden, because the way independence took place, it was not normal. It was very, very difficult, under very difficult circumstances. Because there was separation, isn't it? There was partition, and there was lot of bloodbath. So the situation was not normal. So we wanted immediately what? We asked the Britishers, you please hand over the power, and it will be a dominion status. We'll take some guidance so that the transition can be little better. All of a sudden, if they would have left everything, it would have become very difficult for us to manage. So that's why we accepted. Though in 1930 only, Purna Swaraj resolution was passed. Purna Swaraj means complete independence, right? But in spite of that, we accepted dominion status in 1947. Why? Because of the situation. Partition, communal rights, it was very difficult to, because partition is not easy, right? You have to divide the asset of the country. Assets of the country will be divided, liability will be divided, a boundary has to be created, huge displacement of population. It was not easy, very difficult. So immediately what we wanted, you give us, transfer the power and give us dominion status, and you be with us to guide us. And because we didn't had our own constitution also, we were still following 1935 Act. That was the longest running constitution under the British, 1935 Act, from 1935 to 1950. Fine. Yes. So we have seen when the assembly made for the constitution making, Dr. Rajendra Prasad presided over it. But when for the law making, it was presided by whom? G.V. Mangalankar. And these two functions continued till November 26, 1949. Because this day, the constitution was enacted. This day, the constitution was enacted and adopted. So constitution making work got over. It got over.